Hey everyone, in this video we are going to see OpAmp as an integrator. So we have just started this OpAmp series. So I have explained already what is meant by OpAmp and basic instructions about OpAmp. So what all the pins that are in the OpAmp and how they work. So it contains inputs, generally two input pins and one output will be there. So all those things I have covered in my previous videos. So if you have not seen that video, please guys check the playlist. So the question is that can we use OpAmp as an integrator? So yes, of course we can use OpAmp as an integrator. Not only as an integrator, we can use it as a differentiator and summer, subtractor. All those basic circuits can be implemented with the help of an OpAmp here. So a integrator is an electronic circuit which performs the integration operation. So obviously an integrator is one which performs the integration. So we know the integration means it's a successive addition. So if you keep on adding something, then it becomes an integration. So a differentiation means successive subtraction. So those basic things we know. So its output voltage is proportional to the input voltage integrated over time. So we have some voltage which is varying over a time. So if we consider a span of 10 minutes, then in up to 5 minutes the voltage is 5 volt, and after 5 minutes it becomes suddenly 7 volt, 6 volt if it changes. So what will be the voltage at the end? So that we can calculate with the help of integrator, because it will be adding the voltages over the time period, that is a 10-minute window in this case. Okay. Okay, so the circuit diagram for the op-amp as an integrator. So for integrator, the circuit diagram is, so it is same as inverting amplifier, or that is differential amplifier, but some changes are there. So only we are replacing the feedback resistor with a capacitor. So you can replace it with any that is inductive element. So that is an inductor, or you can use a capacitor also. So in this case we have used capacitor because due to the Lenz law, inductor creates a problem there. So it is better to use the capacitor, so it will do our work simpler. So it consists of, as usual, the input resistance R in, then the second terminal, that is non-inverting terminal, is tied to ground, so the voltage at point P1 will be 0, and due to the virtual ground theory, the voltage at point V2 will also be equal to 0. So this is the power supply which is applied, and this is the output pin. So due to the source V in voltage applied here, there will be a flow of current I in through the input resistor, that is R in. And as no current can flow inside the op amp, and due to that reason the I in current will go to the feedback path, that is IF, and a current of IF. So it is in the feedback path, that's why I have named it as IF. So it will charge the capacitor for positive half cycle and discharge the capacitor, or else the capacitor discharges during the negative half cycle. So like this we will be, it will be summing the output over a period of time there. So let us see some equation and try to find out the output equation or output voltage equation here. So first we will apply KCL at node A. So this is the node A, and I will apply KCL at node A. So the total current entering will be equal to the total current leaving that junction. So the total current entering here is I in, and the total current leaving that junction is IF. So I in plus IF will be equal to 0. So I can write it as I in is equal to minus IF here. So when I write it in terms of voltage, I can write it as V in minus V2 divided by R, that is IN. So V in is the first voltage and this is the second voltage, that is V2 point. So I can write according to the voltage law there. So this is the voltage difference between these two and the resistance, that is R in there. So I have written it as R. Okay, so V in minus V2 divided by R, which will be equal to, due to the capacitance C into current is d by dt of output voltage minus the voltage at point 2, because this will be the net resistance offered, and this is the two voltage points, output minus input. So we know that V2 is equal to 0 due to the virtual ground effect. So V2 is equal to 0 and V1 is equal to 0 as well here. So V in by R is equal to minus C into d by dt of V naught here. Okay, now let us integrate on both sides. So when we integrate, what will happen? V naught will be equal to minus V in by RC into dt, and this is the integration constant plus C. So d by dt will cancel there because integration and differentiation are opposite to each other. And this is the 1 minus 1 by RC is the constant which we can take outside the integration, and this is the term which will directly affect the output. Okay, so when V in changes, the output is going to change. So minus 1 by RC is the term which will affect, but once we set R and C value, then it will not affect at the output. So they basically contribute for the gain there. So let us see some of the waveforms what we will be getting in integrator. So when we give input as a square wave, that is like this, so we will be getting a triangular wave there. So what is happening here is, during the positive peak here, the capacitor charges. So we know that capacitor takes more time to charge and it will take less time to discharge. So the capacitor charges here, so that's why there is no current flowing which is outside. So here the capacitor is charging in this circuit, so there is no current flowing at the output, so there will be no voltage. Okay, so during the negative half cycle of the input, the capacitor start discharging. So it is starting charging now, then it will start discharging. So now the output at the old output at the op amp will be non-zero, because the current is flowing through the capacitor and it will be reaching the output terminal. So we will be getting a higher, that is negative to positive curve here. So this is the charging curve and this is the discharging curve here. And again for positive cycle, the capacitor gets charged up to here, then it will discharge from here to here. So like this we will be getting a triangular wave for the square wave input. And in case of sinusoidal input, we will be getting a output of 180 degree phase shift, that is 180 degree phase shift, as we are applying the input to the non-inverting terminal, inverting terminal. So this is the inverting terminal and we are applying the out input here. So this is the V in point and this is the V out point. So you are applying a input at the non-inverting terminal, so you'll be getting a 180 degree output phase. So at the output will be 180 degree out of phase with respect to the input. So this is the input waveform here and this is the output waveform. But for the for the sinusoidal input, the case is somewhat different. So what we have seen until now is the DC input. So what if we have a AC input, that is the input contains both the positive as well as negative cycles. So in that case, we need to take one extra resistor, that is feedback resistor RF there. But as usual, the question arises why we should take RF. So what is damn in taking that one? So is it makes any sense? So yes, it makes a lot of sense. So let me explain you. So if you have a 0 hertz input, so a signal with a 0 input, so at that time the capacitor will going to act as a open circuit. So this is open circuit here, and assume that this is not there. So this part is not already there. So the capacitor is open circuit means there is no feedback coming from the output to the input. So we can't control the gain. So the gain will be very high. So it will be infinite almost. So this is the drawback why we should have a feedback resistor RF. So at that time we can't able to control the gain. So it is obvious that if you can't control the gain, then that operational amplifier is of no use. So it can't be used in practical applications. So that's why in order to have the control over gain, we need an resistor, that is feedback resistor over here, so that we can control the gain of the op amp here. Okay, so here we are using a feedback resistor. So when the zero voltage is applied to the input, at that time, though this is acting as an open circuit here, so there will be a feedback resistor. So it will provide a path for the inputs output signal to pass as the input again. So the output will be coming back as the input there. And rest of the things are as usual, that is input resistance, input voltage, V2, V1, IF and CF. All right, so the input is again applied to the inverting terminal. So when we give a input sine wave, then we'll be getting a cosine wave with a 180-degree phase shift. Okay, so this is the input sine wave and this is the output what we'll be getting. So the gain of the uh, op amp or the integrator is minus R2 by R1. So minus sign indicates 180-degree phase shift, and gain depends on the R2 by R2 by R1, or we can say RF by R in. So RF by R in. So I have written R2 by R1 or RF by R in. So there is no change, but I am using RF by R in. So here in this case it will be RF by R in here. Okay, and the most important factor, that is corner frequency, is given by 1 divided by 2 pi R2 into C. So remember guys, it is not on the Rin, it will be depending on the feedback resistance, that is RF, or in this case I have taken as a R2. So I should change it as RF. Okay, so this is the corner frequency or the highest frequency which can be achieved. All right, so we are at the end of our session. So here are the some of applications. So first application is, it is used in ramp generator. So it can be used, the integrator can be used to generate the ramp signal here. And the second is, it is used in function generators to produce the triangular wave. So the functional generator, so a square wave is given. So now we will see possible applications of the integrator here. So it is used in ramp generator circuit. So it can be used as a ramp generator. So the ramp signals which are continuously increasing in a steps, that can be produced with the help of integrator. So the second is, it is used in function generators to produce the triangular wave. So we can produce the sine wave, and when we give it to the, if you produce a square wave, that is this wave, and when we give it to the integrator, then we will be getting a triangular wave. Okay, so in our video we have seen how we can get the triangular wave. So there it can be used, and it can be used in wave shaping circuit. So as I said, it can be used to produce the different types of waves. So phase shifts can be done, or the shape of the phase shape of the waveform itself can be changed with the help of integrator. And the fourth one is, it is used in analog computers where integration is done continuously. So now we are having digital computer, but in olden days we are having the analog computers where there every operation is done with the help of voltages. So the voltages are added, subtracted or multiplied, and depending on the necessity, whatever may be done, and the required results are got. So all those things are done with the help of voltages there. Okay, so there we can use the integrator highly. So and the fifth one is, it is used as ADC, that is analog to digital converter. So it is used in analog to digital conversion circuit, and it is used in IoT applications. So in IoT applications, that is in sensor to reproduce the sensor input signal. So if you are sensing something from the environment, then it has to be reproduced. So there we can use an integrator to reproduce that signal. So it has to be given to the microcontroller, Zigbee or GSM module or anything, any stuff you can use there. So these are the some of possible applications, and these are not limited guys, so it can extend up to anything. So depending on the application, we can use an integrator like anything. So if you, until and unless, I hope you like this video, and if you are not subscribed to our channel, please guys do subscribe. And please, if you find the content useful, then hit the like button. Thank you, thanks for watching this video. See you in the next session.